Bienvenidos, Freight fans. Welcome to the Horror Show. Jaime and Fuego here, and we are in Tucson, Arizona. That's right, we headed southbound from Phoenix to the Loft Cinema to cover none other than a official screening from the Satanic Temple, Arizona, of the Penny Lane documentary, Hail Satan? Question mark? But the very cool thing is that it is also including a Q&A with this branch of the Satanic Temple afterwards, and beyond that, they are even showing the Hannah Sweet short film, which is called Devil's Advocate, that came out back in 2017. It's a U of A film student that actually tackled the topic even before this big documentary did. So very cool, and we are excited to just film all of these fright-tastic and informative festivities, all about breaking some misconceptions that some may have about the Satanic Temple.
My name is Jeff. I'm the program director here at the Loft Cinema. Welcome, and I have two words for you. Hail Satan! Hail Satan, yes. So I'm very excited tonight for many reasons. One of them is that you're all here. We have such a big crowd tonight for this very special screening of this great new documentary called Hail Satan? The question mark will be answered in the film. Directed by Penny Lane, who is actually, despite her name, a real filmmaker, who has made films from everything from Richard Nixon to the sea monkey legend. Yeah, they're not related. Richard Nixon was not a sea monkey, although he was something, all right. This film, of course, is about the Satanic Temple. I think you're probably all familiar with that. If you're not familiar with the Satanic Temple and you've come here tonight with preconceived notions about what the Satanic Temple is all about, please prepare to have your mind blown and your script flipped. Seriously. I don't want to overstate it, but I think this is a movie that every American should see. So, yes, it's a very important film. So, welcome to America. I was lucky enough to get to see the world premiere of this film at Sundance back in January. I didn't know anything about it. I knew about the Satanic Temple, and the movie was called Hail Satan, so how would I not go see that? But it was not what I expected at all. It was a lot more than I expected, and I certainly did not expect that the Satanic Temple, Arizona would figure so prominently in the film, and specifically Tucson. Tucson is awesome. This is yet another example of why Tucson is awesome. We have a very active Satanic Temple chapter here. I just wanted to say that, I said earlier this was a very special screening. It's a very special screening of Hail Satan because we have several members of the Council of the Satanic Temple, Arizona with us tonight who are going to be here for a Q&A, including Stu DeHaan, who is the spokesperson and attorney, because that's necessary for the Satanic Temple, Arizona, as you will see, and Michelle Short, who's the chapter head of the Satanic Temple, Arizona, and she's awesome. And others as well. And we'll meet them after the film. So we're gonna have a Q&A immediately after the film, but in between the end of this film and the start of the Q&A, we have an extra special bonus because there's not enough Satan. We're gonna give you more Satan. So we have a special screening of a 6-minute short film called Devil's Advocate about the Satanic Temple, Arizona, which was filmed here in 2017 by a U of A student filmmaker named Hannah Sweet. Is Hannah Sweet here? Oh, okay. All right, sorry, Hannah. Anyway, she made this great film about the Satanic Temple, Arizona in 2017. It's 6 minutes long. We're going to show it right before the Q&A, so it's going to be great. We also have a couple of things to give away. I'm sure Satan would approve. So these are a couple of things sent to us by the studio. Satanic Temple merchandise, and some of you put your raffle tickets into the cauldron here. So we have the Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities, which actually is featured in the film, which is a great educational tool. A Satanic Temple canvas tote, so that you can show the world that you're open-minded, which is nice. And we have 5 Satanic Temple buttons of different sorts. So let's just call some names, and then you come up and pick what you want. Cat Martinez, why don't you come get something from the Satanic Temple? Cat Martinez, would you like the tote, the Children's Book of Activities, or a button? Yes, of course, the Children's Book of Activities. Please enjoy that. Share it with a child. How about Allison Clement? Oh. Oh my God, that's the wrong thing to say here tonight. So, Alice, would you like the tote or one of the buttons?
Tote.
Tote it. Tote it up.
Totally gonna tote it.
Totally tote it. Okay. So now we have 5 buttons, so you're getting a button, but they're all different, and so no repeats, all different. Elisa Mask, you get a special button. Ellen Gefter, you get a special button. Yeah. John Benda. Whoa. Whoa. Please, take that button. Wear it proudly.
I'll buy one.
How about Octavio Hernandez Jr.? Jr. Show your dad. You got one too, yes. How about Class of 666? That's perfect for you. Yes, great. Yes. Oh, After School Satan. That's perfect for you. Clearly. Okay. And the last button we have goes to Glenda. Just Glenda. Nothing else. Is Glenda here? Does she come with Cher? Glenda and Cher and Madonna. One named women. Oh yeah, this is good. So this is like a cute like Pikachu Satan. Yeah, enjoy that. Okay, so thank you all for coming. Please enjoy Hail Satan and stick around for the Q&A after the film. It's going to be great. All right, thanks.
Greetings again, Fright fans. We are back post Hail Satan screening down here at the Loft in Tucson, and I am here with Liz. Are you an official member of TST?
I'm an official member of the Arizona chapter of the Satanic Temple. I never have ordered my ID card yet. It's $25. It's not bad. Church of Satan is like $250, so you know, this is kind of a deal. But I am a member of the local Arizona chapter, which a lot of whom is in this film. A lot of my friends are up there on screen, so I am pretty biased. And I do our highway cleanups, which appears in the film, so that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, people from TST probably a little bit more like environmentally conscious and caring about, you know, their community and stuff than the average person would say. I was honestly, when I first saw this at the Phoenix Film Festival, most impressed with just the way that it dispels a lot of expectations and preconceptions a lot of people may go in with. What were yours coming into it as somebody who's kind of within the inner circle?
When I first heard of TST, I thought they were trolls, and I think a lot of people do, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious, like, right on. And then when I actually investigated who they are and what they believe, and that it's an actual religion, and it's not just trolling, and it's not just activism either, it is a religion primarily, and they have the tenets that they believe in. That's what surprised me, and I think that's what a lot of people will find in this movie. And it's interesting, they put the tenets, the actual beliefs of the religion, they put them off until like more than halfway through the movie when you're actually starting to understand who they are and what they do, and it's pretty cool.
So, a finished product, does it get your thumbs up, your stamp of proverbial approval then?
It really does, but of course I'm biased, and all my friends are in it, and it leaves on a cliffhanger, because it kind of ends where we are now. It's very up to the minute. The only thing that's big that has happened since then is we are now a recognized religion by the United States government, and so all the lawsuits and the opposition claiming that we're not a real religion and we're just a bunch of trolls have no legs to stand on at this point. So where we're going next with the Baphomet Monument is really exciting. And I can't wait to see it's almost like it wants a sequel. I don't know if documentaries often do that, but that would be cool.
Well, it happened with stuff that Michael Moore has done or whatever, but
God's Not Dead too.
Oh boy, from the other religious standpoint, from the completely opposite side of the spectrum. You know, as somebody who was raised Reformed Baptist and, shifted to atheism and then shifted to agnosticism, I did in some ways get an essence of it, especially in the short film that we got to see, where they were talking about Devil's Advocate and listening to Michelle's invocation, I believe it was, and agnosticism is even directly mentioned within that. But there's so much more just symbolism and intellectualism on display here that impressed me more so than anything else. And I mean, I don't know, you would think the average person who's into Satanism would be barbaric and simplistic in their mindset and all this other stuff. And then you hear and you're like, wow, impressive, man.
Yeah, it's a really smart group. Everybody's very into books like Milton and all that, classical literature. Um, everybody's super educated. Everybody's not necessarily educated formally, but like everybody's just curious and wants to learn and believes should conform to the best scientific knowledge that we have, etc. Everybody's really curious and wants to and be themselves. Anyway, I don't know. I love them.
No, I was going to say you're definitely speaking my language, and it intrigued me. All of this. Not that I know that if I could, I don't know, with my upbringing, just embracing something so significant in just the misplaced impressions that people would get. I'm more so impressed than anything else by just these people bearing it all and just being willing to put themselves out there in this regard.
Yeah, and like we saw tonight, it can be a little dangerous. Someone was maybe kind of threatening them.
Borderline, yeah, it was there.
It was really scary, and I was frightened for a minute, but they know what they're getting into, and it keeps making itself. When stuff like that happens, it's more apparent how important this is, because supposedly we're the crazy ones. We're the ones who are out to get everybody, but that was truly terrifying, and that was probably a Christian lady. I'm sure she's very nice.
Well, they all are, right? To a point, unless you get them mad, and then the fire and brimstone and all that comes down. So, well, Liz, thank you so very much for giving impressions. I got James here, man. What's happening?
It's all good, man.
So how did you hear about this movie, and what brought you here tonight?
My friend Joshua, he's a Satanist here in Arizona, in Tucson, and he invited me out tonight.
Okay, so you were open-minded enough to come and check it out. What thoughts did you leave with?
Oh, it was a great movie, and it was very insightful. Like, I learned a little bit from Joshua. We talked about it a little bit, but I learned a lot more tonight.
So did you just find it funnier or more informative? Or
both. It was very funny. It was a very funny movie, and it was very informative as well.
So did it at least turn you on to like wanting to maybe get involved with this organization or like research it further?
Yeah, it made me feel like I want to contribute.
Now, so somebody else that I talked to who was actually also a member named Liz, she had said that she thinks it ended on enough of a cliffhanger where they could do a sequel. Do you think that would be good? Is there enough like information to delve into?
Well, I think because it's an ongoing fight, it fights the word that Satanists have. I think that you could do a sequel.
Yeah, there's enough to just continue forward with.
So I guess there's more work to be done. I guess what I'm trying to say.
They've merely scratched the surface, man.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, James. Thanks for taking a minute to chat up, man. Right on. Oh, happy to. And I'm here with Amy, who we were just informed off camera has taken the brunt of a lot by being supportive of this organization. I commend you on your efforts.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
So was this your first time seeing the film tonight?
Yeah, it was amazing. So excited.
Nice. Now, so did it approach the tone and the topic in a different way than you were anticipating?
Yeah, I think I expected it to be like maybe a little bit more about the satanic rituals, like kind of the visual aspect, being that it's a movie. Like, here's the visuals and here's what TST, like, here's what they're all about. But really, it was the truth, which is really exciting. It's what they're about, and really just making sure there's equality for everybody, no matter what you believe.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that impressed me the most about this was that it did not take the approach of, like, at least for me, growing up a Reformed Baptist, that Satanists are this and they're bloodthirsty that and whatever. Although I did feel like, especially with Jack, we did see that a little bit. And so with a religion like this, as it's now officially classified, do you think that there is still the possibility for people to, even if there's all of these different tenets laid down and everything, that there can be misinterpretation because it is still a religion, and religion can still be very dangerous despite the best of intentions? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, with modern media, most of the stuff coming out about Satanism is very visual again. So even when you have something very educational, all the newspaper articles you read about it in the famous publications, people aren't really reading them. They're just going by their own assumptions. So I completely agree that there's going to be that misconception. I think it's something that would take a really long time to sort of undo. And unless you're open enough and willing enough to watch the movie or to really read a full article and not read just the first 2 paragraphs, that misconception is just going to be real in your mind.
Yeah, but all too often, especially with people like my parents, for instance, I know that they just will refuse to even go past that first hurdle because they have their preconceptions so deeply rooted that the minds are like completely closed. So
Yes, totally. The same thing, grew up Lutheran in the church.
I went to a Lutheran school. We were Wells, so I know.
Yeah, and so it's hard. I think people's religions and beliefs, they have deep roots, so undoing those isn't really a thing.
Gotcha. Well, so this being an ongoing thing, would you want to see a sequel? Would you want to see Penny Lane continue this and, show just kind of an update film in a few years as to how the process has continued?
Yeah, I think a sequel would be awesome because they're always doing something new. Their numbers, I think if you looked at them for Satan Adjacent and people who are donating, supporting, following them on social media, email lists is probably huge. And so knowing where they go in the future and what they're working on would be really awesome to see.
Yeah, and I think also even showing more of an international, because it showed in the map just the spreading of the ideals and everything. Now, so you did hint at a tumultuous past of sorts with regards to actually even giving some sort of credence and respect to this path and this frame of thinking and stuff like that. For others who may be wrestling with similar bits of just disregard or things far worse, just being disavowed from a family, friend, something like that. What sort of advice would you give to people who are kind of teetering on that edge and dealing with that sort of crap?
Yeah, I think it comes to being true to yourself, which is the hardest thing to do. In the movie they talk about D&D and metal music and people really finding their folks, their tribe. And so being disowned from the rest of society because you found your tribe really is unfair. And coming from a religious background, also kind of having those herbalist, druidy, pagan beliefs and being disowned by your family, not being able to speak that truth and having a group, no matter what my belief system is, even if I'm not here in the movie, being Satan adjacent, it's difficult, but it also gives you some freedom. It gives you the freedom to be yourself and say, this is me, and if you're going to disown me because of that, like I'm really pursuing something that's bigger and greater for so many other people who can't speak up for themselves.
Yeah, and if it's something that you're passionate about that hurts nobody else, why should it really become an issue? It just doesn't make sense if you're stepping on no one's toes. So.
Yeah, completely agree.
And I am so pleased to be here with a very big-time member of TST here in Arizona, none other than Stu, sir. And I got to see you in the film last month at Phoenix Film Festival. That was my first time getting to catch it. And also seeing you in the short film and just the aspect of your involvement in just all of this is impressive. And how did you first get involved with all of it?
Well, Michelle and I had an interesting path with this because we were the only chapter heads that were selected by Lucian Greaves. And the reason why was there was a forum that now has tens of thousands of people. And at the time, there were 400 people in that forum. So when he said, does anyone in Arizona want to do something? The two people that spoke up were me and Michelle. So he said, why don't you guys talk to each other to see if you want to do this? And that was the whole Phoenix invocation thing that occurred, where we were like, he's like, you want to volunteer to do a satanic invocation for the Phoenix City Council. We didn't realize how crazy that would get, and that was kind of our point of no return.
You passed it and then some, most definitely. And so was the short just made, I mean, obviously it was made when the major film by Penny was already in the process of being put together. So did the U of A student hear about the project and that's why she reached out to the both of you and got those gears turning, or?
That's funny about that is I was actually just telling this story where she Googled what's a weird thing happening in Tucson because she wanted to find something, kind of bizarre out there to do a little short student film on, and she saw Michelle and I in there, and then she actually got really interested in what we were doing. So she put that together as a student film. But at the time, after, that whole invocation thing exploded, we were getting media requests, dozens of them. We were on ABC and NBC, NPR talked to us. And so, when a student from U of A asked, we were like, well, sure. That's a local thing. That's kind of cool. We're a little more selective with media now because it's only gotten more and more, especially with the documentary.
So the response to the documentary, I have to ask, what is the most fulfilling thing about just putting yourselves out there? Is it dispelling so many of these misconceptions or, just clarifying things a little bit better?
I don't like to be a guy that goes around debunking things because it makes me feel like I'm on the defense. You know, like, oh, I have to prove that I'm not some, you know, child sacrificing person or something. I don't like that aspect of it. But to me, it's almost vindication. Because, you know, we're screaming from the rooftops what we're trying to do, but nobody listens. And then all of a sudden, here's a movie explaining it very concisely from a national level that is kind of mainstream in a good way, the way that I see it, where it's like, well, here it is. This is concise. It's actually giving credit to a lot of people that have worked very hard. So all the people that you see there in the film have worked very hard at you know, doing the things that the Satanic Temple does. So to me, it was very satisfying to see the people that I saw on the big screen and to kind of demonstrate how our tactics work and what we're doing. So I find that to be the best part of it.
Nice. Now, so as far as the final tone of the film, the fact that there is an essence of whimsy and almost like humor to it, were you aware that that was the tone that was going to really be there in the end? Because I think it almost hits like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down sort of situation.
Absolutely. And I've been telling Penny, I've called her and I've been like, the fact that you added levity to this and humor to me makes it so much better, because it kind of shows the absurdity of what we're facing and how we're dead serious, but that absurdity is comical. I mean, objectively, it's ridiculous. And I think that when people see that and see that we're good-natured about it, I think that is a positive.
Yeah, and the most impressive thing for me, coming from like a big-time religious background and all this stuff, but yet eventually shifting to atheism, and then somewhere in the realm of agnosticism and stuff, where I'm not really going to give any, you know, distinction or say anyone in particular is right. The stuff that I believe are the same kind of precepts that I saw y'all putting forth in the film, which was, you know, thinking for yourself and not just going with what somebody tells you and, you know, things of that nature. I don't know. It certainly spoke to me, and it dispelled some of my misconceptions, because I walked into the film blind, and I was just impressed with how intellectual and how just deep-rooted in the thinking everybody was. So.
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, actually, because I think the way that I described it is, especially when we went forward with the Phoenix City Council, the way I described it was I think they thought we were a black T-shirt convention, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, we are, but at the same time, we put our all into this. We truly believe in this. These are our deeply held beliefs, and we're not a bunch of dumbasses running around like, you know, we're fighting fire with fire, and we have a crew of people that are very knowledgeable and intellectual about how to go about this. We're very tactical.
Yeah, well, and there's a depth of conviction that I think is going to speak to just about anybody who sees this film. They're going to come out of it changed, and so, you know, very, very impressed with, you know, just the message that all of you are putting forth. So
thank you. I appreciate that, and it's cool that you guys came down here to do this with us.
We were very happy to. So Stu, thank you so very much, man, and I guess I'll end it with Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
All right, so we just got done wrapping up the Q&A, which was extensive, and talking with a few members of TST and just some, you know, interesting and curious individuals who were here for the screening tonight. It was a blast getting to see this once again, and also Devil's Advocate, which was a short film done by a U of A student. Both were insightful, and I am hopeful, just like some of the other viewers, for a sequel/continuation of the ongoing struggle that is TST, but I greatly admire their efforts, and I can't wait to see what they continue doing in the future. So until next time, Fright fans, I have been Jaime and Fuego, and remember, stay scared.